Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And over the weekend, Xbox Game Pass may have just revealed a huge AAA game coming this December. Now, this is a game fans have been speculating on for a while now, and it looks like it may in fact be true after all, so don't go anywhere and we'll talk all about that. Also, the PlayStation 5 broke a new record showing just how successful their launch was. It really is extremely impressive, so we'll go over all of that as well. As always though, we got plenty of other things to talk about, so let's get right into it. So Ubisoft decided to give the Assassin's Creed Quebec team a chance to work on a new IP, and that's Immortal's Fenyx Rising. Now this is an interesting game because clearly there is a lot of talent behind Immortals, and the idea of this game actually came from a glitch within Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yeah, that's kind of strange, but that's how it all began, and here we are years later with it releasing in just a few days on December 3rd. Well, reviews are starting to come out now, and depending on how you look at Metacritic, it's overall doing fairly well. It currently has a 75 overall score on Metacritic. It doesn't necessarily seem to be blowing critics away, but from what I've heard, I've been hearing mostly good things. The combat seems to be solid, it has a huge world, and if you like Zelda-like puzzles, it might be something worth checking out. Unfortunately though, the character creator isn't the best in the world, and it may not have the most diverse set of enemies. Again though, I've mostly been hearing good things about this game, so if you are excited about Immortal's Fenyx Rising, check it out on December 3rd. I'll probably pick this one up myself. I'm still playing a couple of other games at the moment as we suddenly got bombarded with a ton of games to play, but I definitely want to check this game out eventually. Now also, we've talked about this a few different times on the channel, but when is Doom Eternal coming to the Switch? That's the question everybody wants to know. We've known for a while this is happening, and I believe it was just a week or two ago when GameStop suddenly started calling customers who had pre-ordered this game and let them know it was cancelled. Luckily though, that was just the physical version, and Bethesda cleared that situation up real quick. Yes, it's still coming to the Switch digitally. Now the only thing that we need to know is when. Well, we now have an official release date, and it's very soon as I expected. Yeah, you're going to be able to play Doom Eternal on your Switch starting December 8th. So there you have it. The Nintendo Switch has yet another big release before the end of 2020. I know it's been a weird year and all, but it looks like the Switch is going out with a bang. Seriously, Doom Eternal is a very good game, and based off what we saw with the last Doom port for the Switch, I think it's going to perform pretty well. I mean, clearly it doesn't look as good as the Xbox, PC, or PlayStation version, but because you can play this in portable mode, that's really cool, and I do think that there's an audience for this type of game on the Switch. As long as the performance is solid, and I do think it will be based off the last game, this will automatically be one of the best shooters available for the Switch. I like this trend though. We're seeing several big AAA games take a chance on the Switch, and I'm hoping we see more of this type of stuff in the future. In other news, there's been a new mysterious development within Crash Bandicoot 4. So Crash 4 was actually one of my favorite games to release this year. I really like this game a lot, and since I finished it, I keep hoping Activision continues on with this franchise. There is some speculation that it may not have sold all that well. I don't think it did bad per se, but it didn't sell as well as the Insane Trilogy, and that's not a great sign considering Activision already abandoned this franchise once. Hopefully they don't do that again, and I still think that's Activision's fault for making this a $60 game compared to the Insane Trilogy, which was $40 at launch. Regardless, somebody spotted that after you beat Crash 4 with 106%, if you go over to the TV within the first level of the game, you can actually see a new mysterious logo pop up. It does it real quick before the TV shuts off, but you can clearly see a new mysterious logo. There's a lot of speculation that this could be pointing towards Crash's next game, maybe a direct sequel or possibly a spin-off. As of this moment, if this is teasing another game, I'm thinking this is probably going to be a spin-off. There was a leak back in March of this year that detailed two new Crash games, Crash 4 and also a PvP Crash game. That does sound a bit strange, but that same rumor also stated that Tony Hawk would be getting a remaster, and of course that did end up happening. So there is some validity to this leak, but still this is just speculation for the time being. There is no confirmation, but I would love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Let me know in the comments below on what you think this could be teasing, if it's teasing anything at all. Also, how would you feel if they did make a multiplayer Crash game? Let's move on over to the Xbox news though, because we got a few things to talk about. So over the last year, Jeff Grubb has really solidified himself as being a legit insider. He has given out a lot of information this last year, much of which was very accurate. Well, on the Xbox Empire podcast, he revealed some new information that may surprise a few people, so let's take a look at what he had to say. We saw Forza Motorsport get teased a few months ago, but I think we might get the next Forza Horizon game first, and I think that might be coming this coming year. They're in a weird situation where for some reason, Playground says it does seem like they may be ready to go first. I think I know the setting, but I'm going to let them announce it. So according to the well-respected VentureBeat journalist, Forza Horizon 5 might be coming sooner than many were expecting. I mean, Forza Motorsports this time has been in development longer than previous iterations, but it looks like it's to the point we might see Horizon 5 first. Now for me, I think that's really exciting. I personally like the Horizon series better, though that will entirely depend on if you like simulation racing or arcade. I do think Motorsports is great, and I like those a lot as well, but Forza Horizon 4 for me was one of the best racing games I've ever played. Seriously, Playground Games did a phenomenal job with that game, and I'm excited to see what they can do next. Jeff Grubb though does seem like he knows what the location is, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think it would be cool to go over to Japan. That's the one that fans often request, and I agree with them. That would be a really cool location for their next game, and could really showcase the power of the Xbox Series X. Maybe go to the streets of Japan with all of the bright lights, which could have some really cool ray tracing effects, and then maybe you could see the cherry blossoms somewhere in the game as well. I think that would be a surreal experience, and I trust Playground Games to make another great game. I'll say this though, Microsoft made the right decision in acquiring Playground Games. Not only do they have Forza Horizon, but they're also working on the next Fable game. This kind of goes back in line with what I've been saying all along. Xbox will have some good games coming soon. I know they didn't necessarily have that big blockbuster first-party launch game, but they do have an impressive pipeline of games coming over the next couple years. We just have to be a little patient for these studios to start pumping out games, but when they do, I think it's going to be a lot of fun for Xbox fans. And speaking of fun times, Xbox Game Pass is always a ton of fun. It's almost like every single month, they somehow blow the community away with their great lineup of games. I mean, should we really be all that surprised anymore? I think Xbox has kind of proven they know what they're doing with Xbox Game Pass, and it looks like December is going to be yet another strong month. Xbox hasn't officially unveiled what their December lineup will be just yet, but we do know of possibly 2 games. The first one is Call of the Sea, which is confirmed. This is a day one launch title for Xbox Game Pass. It's got a gorgeous art style, and it kind of reminds me of Firewatch. That will debut in Xbox Game Pass on December 8th, but as I said, Xbox Game Pass is teasing something for December, and it sounds like it could be Control. If you take a look at their tweet, they talk about a sinister red light and how fans won't stop mentioning the game. That does sound an awful lot like Remedy's Control. Of course, there's no confirmation as of this recording, but I do think this makes sense. Early on in this year, Phil Spencer himself said it was coming to Xbox Game Pass, and then nothing ever happened with that. That was a little odd for him to say that, and since then, fans have continuously mentioned Control just as Xbox Game Pass says in this tweet. The only other game that I could think of is CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077. I don't think that's the game coming to Xbox Game Pass though. I'm thinking this will be Control, and that's huge if true. Control was a great game, and it was a Game of the Year contender in 2019. If it does end up coming to Xbox Game Pass though, I'm curious if this will be the Ultimate Edition. That does include the AWE expansion with Alan Wake, and it's also optimized for Xbox Series. So that would be cool. I know this game didn't perform well on base consoles last generation and had some technical problems, but if you have an Xbox Series, this is a great game to check out. As always, Xbox Game Pass is amazing. Let me know though if you interpret this tweet differently. Do you think it's Control or do you think it's something else? Let me know in the comments below. On to our last topic though, the PlayStation 5 had a huge launch. We talked about this last week as Sony said it was the biggest PlayStation launch ever. Well, more good news came out today as it's been revealed that the PlayStation 5 set a new record over in the UK. Yeah, it went on to sell more than 250,000 units in 48 hours in the UK alone, making it the biggest UK launch ever for any console. Now to clarify, we don't have specific numbers. According to the Video Game Chronicles though, they understand it far exceeded the previous record of 250,000 units sold by the PlayStation 4. So that is extremely impressive, but I also think it's expected. I keep saying this, but whatever PlayStation puts out on shelves, they're going to sell it. And the same can be said for the Xbox Series right now. Both are selling out everywhere, so it's just a matter of how many units they can produce. They have to keep up with demand, and then you also have a major scalping problem as well. Scalpers are unfortunately buying thousands of these consoles. It was reported last week that one group ended up snagging 3,500 PlayStation 5s that they could resell online. The same thing is also happening with the Xbox Series X, where the same group got 1,000 Xbox Series X units. It's absolutely crazy right now, but it kind of shows you the demand for these new consoles. A previous report by Xbox suggests that demand might be like this until April of 2021, so if you're still looking to buy one of these new consoles, you're going to have to stay very vigilant. Either way, big congrats to Sony with their successful launch with the PlayStation 5. Anytime you break a record like that, it's extremely impressive. It shows you how hyped fans are for the PlayStation 5, and I'll be very interested to see how many units they can sell lifetime. If anything, we can certainly say they've gotten off to a fantastic start. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.